District Board of Commissioners meeting to order. We're at 848 Airport Road, Destin, Florida. Today is May 12th, 2020 at 5:30 p.m. This meeting is open to the public. Pursuant to the provisions of Section 286.011 Florida statutes and Governor DeSantis' executive orders 20-51 and 20-52, in which the governor declared a public health emergency and a state emergency, there is a recommendation to limit public gatherings. This meeting is being aired on YouTube Live channel at Destin Fire Rescue YouTube for the public to view to listen to. So, moving to the next agenda item is employee recognitions. Chief?
Yes, sir. Due to all the reasons that you just stated, I didn't ask for these two employees to come because it would have put us over the number that we would have wanted that we could have had in the room. But I did want to make sure that we did recognize the accomplishments of two of our employees. One is Captain Christensen. Captain Christensen has been with us for 20 years, so he's just made his 20. He's dedicated. He's done a lot for us, and we're proud to have him as part of our team. I don't think he's going to retire anytime soon. He's got some younger kids, so I expect him to be with us for a while. Matter of fact, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't recognize him at 25. So, but Brian Christensen, Captain Christensen, has obtained his 20 years, and Michael Anderson, kind of referred to as Mike, completed his swim. He had passed his 1 year, and he was right on the verge of passing the swim. He didn't quite get it within a year. But he got it within 2 months after that, so we didn't have a meeting in April, so we couldn't recognize him. But seeing as how I have a meeting today, I want to recognize him for accomplishing his swim and being able to complete his probation. So he's off probation now, and he's a permanent part of the family.
Great.
So,
Congratulations. Awesome.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations. Maybe we can bring him up the next meeting. That we can have.
Depending on the status at the next meeting, I'd love to be able to bring them before us, because there are things that we do, that we present to them, a 20-year plaque, as well as our probationary employees. If you'll notice, if you'll see us on a fire ground or working at an incident, you'll see the color of their shield is yellow. Those are on probation, so he needs to identify them as compared to somebody that has a different color shield, whether it be white for an officer or black for a firefighter. So we will give him his black shield, so that way he knows that he's off probation and is able to kind of trust him to do more without direct supervision. So,
Awesome.
yeah. So absolutely would love to at the next meeting where we can.
Okay.
Will do.
And at this time, we would open the floor up for public comments, but seeing the public is not here at this meeting, we did put it out that they could email, call in, or bring it into the station, any questions that they could present to the board or to the department. And we did not receive any at that time. Okay. So review the minutes of the regular meeting, March 10th, 2020.
I move we approve the minutes of the regular meeting of March 10, 2020.
Second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Wilson and Commissioner Buckingham, seconded. Any discussion, changes, deletions? Seeing none, call for a vote. All in favor? All in favor? Unanimous? Okay, regular meeting April 14th, 2020 was canceled due to the public health emergency, so we didn't have any minutes from last month's meeting. So, review of the financial report, April 30th. Catherine?
Yes, sir. You have yeah, she says sit in the back of the room. We kind of talked about it. She's trying to help us facilitate the meeting and make sure that it's live so people can view it. And it's sitting fairly close to the microphone. So
Okay.
in order for everyone else to hear her, it's probably going to be overbearing on the mic. So you have, as Matt would say, the reports in front of you, although Catherine has been so gracious as to summarize in the report that you see. It provides the background and explanation for some of our mid-year budget adjustments that we are making, that we're going to ask for. And that would be, or that's later in Ms. Catherine. Sorry, I'll skip that, but you have it in front of you. If you have any questions, Ms. Catherine can't answer. She is in the back. She just have to be careful how she, with her voice.
motion to approve the financial report from April 30th, 2020.
Second.
Okay, got a motion to approve the financial report for April 30th, 2020 from Commissioner Green and a second from Commissioner Wilson. Any further discussion? Seeing none, call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. All right, moving to old business, west end of the district station. Chief.
Yes, sir, if I could turn that over to Commissioner Buckingham, I know he's done a lot of work on this.
We're moving, the good news, we're moving forward. So I'll have more to report next month.
That's good.
Thank you.
Property adjacent to 117 Crystal Beach, Station 10. Chief.
Yes, sir, I've been in contact, as I do each month, with Ms. Smith, Ms. Whitney, with Fleet and Smith. With the current situation, I make an assumption, didn't ask her, that probably the Kelly group that she's dealing with are probably those that are at risk, which might be causing her some difficulty in getting this done. But I spoke with her as recently as yesterday. In reference to it, the property is still the intent to sell it to us. And she thinks she has everybody on board. She has to get everybody's signatures now. So we got to get them all to sign off on it. And so she is still working on it. The intent is to still sell it to us. And it's still my intent to purchase it. I don't think they're looking to sell it to anyone else. It's just unfortunately taking longer than any of us would like. But it is her intent to ensure that it gets done.
Good. That's awesome. Good news. Thanks, Chief. Moving on to chief reports. Beach safety update.
Yes, sir. I asked, due to some of the restrictions that we have, I asked Chief D'Agostino not to attend. Excuse him from the meeting, the same as Fire Marshal Taylor. You'll see he has broken down the April and May's reports. You see they recovered a dog in Noriega Point. You might have seen that on one of our Facebook posts, where one of our lifeguards, somebody was concerned that the dog was drowning, and there was one that was in the harbor. Our lifeguard went out there to try to rescue the pup, and the pup bit him. And of course, we got the proper medical attention and all that. In the month of April, all the lifeguards received PWC training. And I think what Joe was referring to there is that we put, when we say lifeguards, he did the beach safety division's lifeguards, as well as we asked him to put our firefighters who have passed their USLA course through PWC training. Being what has happened with the boat being out of commission, we're going to utilize the Jetski. So therefore, we make sure all the guys have the appropriate training for that, and did that in April. And then you'll see the statistics on the back side. There were a lot of, as you see the attendance, around 95,000, even though the beach was closed. You'll see there were people that were still out on the beach, which is one of the reasons why we were still there. It's not just that people might get in trouble and go into the water, but people were on the beach even though the beach was closed, and our guards were asking for voluntary compliance and letting them know that those areas were closed and that kind of thing. So that was probably a little bit more difficult than you probably went out in the water and rescued someone, is those that are kind of stubborn out there. And then you'll see in the May report, they've actually rescued 23 people since the beaches have been open, including 3 on Easter Monday. And he would like for us to talk about the junior lifeguard program, and you'll also see the statistics on the backside. What I'd like to say is that you'll see then it's increased significantly already. The number's 143,000. This is in attendance. Public contacts, that means they contacted over and over people. Preventative actions. If there's any questions in reference to it, I'll do my best to answer. If I can't, I'll get you an answer by the next meeting.
Chief, question.
Yes, sir.
Do you have many calls this weekend to crowd down the area?
We've had a couple of calls. It seems as though Crab Island well, by not this weekend, but next weekend, we'll do Memorial Weekend and we'll be out there. And I'll talk to the board about how we're going to accomplish that, when we do. But, yeah, there's been a couple of calls out there, someone cut with a prop and a couple of other things that have occurred. The sheriff's office has, well, that and actually our Harbor 9, who's stationed at the Finger Jetty, was over in that area and picked them up and brought them over to the Coast Guard
Yeah,
station.
we went out there yesterday, tried to go out for a couple hours, and it was probably the worst I've ever seen it.
It's
Horrible out there.
It is, it's
When I say
absolutely
horrible, it was horrible.
Yeah,
What do you mean, like just crowded or?
Yeah.
Lack of attention to the rules. is
Yeah,
what I have
they
witnessed this
don't,
weekend.
they didn't go by the rules. So I would say 99% of them don't know how to operate a boat or a jet ski, period. I seen the sheriff's department a few times chase a couple of them and finally back off. Because the first thing I could thought went through my head is, they know somebody's getting ready to get hurt, and it's probably not the one on the ski.
Yeah.
It was just horrible. I mean, horrible.
I can say a couple of, probably last month, right after it became warm, we noticed it, and it looked like Memorial Weekend. There's a lot of people, I don't know about the activities that were going on. I just know that myself and several of the battalion chiefs noticed as we're going over the bridge that there were quite a few people out there. So we knew that it's going to be busy. And we have a couple of options that I want to put before the board on how we will work to be out there. And depending on how often y'all want us to be out there, but to set it up as we have been in the past, we will be out there every weekend for the rest of the summer, which is our norm. And we normally start on Memorial Weekend. So we're preparing to do so, and we're preparing to be able to patrol out there. So,
We are in a rescue mode, and what you're describing is an enforcement issue.
right, that's right.
Yeah, and I'm real surprised we did not have more calls. Boats running into boats, jet skis running into boats,
Running
people
into the
falling off.
bridge.
Yeah, people falling off, boats when they're moving. It was, my wife finally said, let's go to the pool, let's go. It was horrible.
Chief, I have noticed, and I've always recreated in this area, which is west of the Coast Guard station.
Okay,
I've noticed now that's where everybody's starting to congregate now, so I think we may need to look at kind of patrolling that area
Okay.
down to maybe the old seawall area, maybe. I don't know.
You're getting quite a bit away from.
Well, I don't know, just travel down some far, because they're congregating down there, tying up boats and all that stuff too, so.
I'm kind of with Tommy, where does it end?
Yeah.
well,
At the Brooks Bridge?
I'll be able, if it's okay, I'll go ahead and go where we're going to go, if that's all right.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so, what, we're looking to do, and we've made contact, and I'm gonna ask the board to take emergency action tonight, if it's okay. Talk with DC, he's supportive of what I'm gonna ask, but, we've kind of reached out to some of the vendors in the area. We've actually reached out to Luther's. We know him personally. We know John, really great guy, about utilizing a pontoon boat as a stationary point for us, although it's movable, that kind of thing, but it would be kind of like a staging point for us to operate off of. John has volunteered us to utilize his personal pontoon boat instead of one of his ones that he's renting, so he's not going to lose any money. Let us utilize that for a staging area, putting a lifeguard, firefighter/lifeguard on a jet ski for 10 hours. I think would be way too much to ask someone to be on that. So we're going to use a pontoon boat as a changing off point, as well as keeping the medic on it. So in the event that somebody, let's say, gets cut by a prop, the jet ski brings them to the pontoon boat. We pull them on it, treat them while we're taking them to the closest location to get them out of the water and gone to permanent care. So that's what we're looking at. He has volunteered to utilize his. We're also having a banners made up to be able to put it on site so it identifies that's what that is. It's not a recreational pontoon. It doesn't require rescue that's out there. So we'll be able to identify that. The other thing that we would need the board's approval for is to purchase a jet ski. We have three that are beach safety assets. They're all our assets, but purchased with TDD money and are placed at certain points. They're there for those reasons that they're there. We need one that we can utilize out here. And at Crab Island, that we can maneuver around, get in between boats, in the shallow areas. And I think it would be something that would become more of a permanent solution and not just a short-term one, but a permanent, even when we were to get the fireboat back in order and not using a pontoon boat, still having that asset there without having to pull, because that's what ends up happening, pull the one from the finger jet. There's a reason the one's at the finger jet because of the hole and everybody else recreating there, but we pull it when we need to for an emergency. So if we can leave it there and only use it as a backup when needed and have that jet ski there with that pontoon boat doing the patrolling, being able to get in and out. So being that we don't have the fireboat, I would ask the board if we could make an emergency purchase of a jet ski for that purpose for patrolling Crab Island and rescues in general.
So move.
So moved.
Second.
It needs it.
And this will be the fire department's boat, not the
It's
TDC.
correct. It would be ours and
Yeah.
it can't be taken from us.
And they will come out of impact fees because we can use that for a new station if we ever get that.
It would be in addition to the fleet. It wouldn't be a replacement. I would think we might be able to.
I can't wait.
It would be
We had
in
one
addition-
station on Crab Island before. To me, that sounds pretty new to me.
Yeah, it's in addition to the fleet. It's not a replacement. It's like adding new apparatus is the way I would see it.
Given we've just been through this big change with the county, that they actually own those devices, and this is part of beach safety, debatable or not? You know, should we at least go to the county and say we need another one and have them turn us down?
Not a bad idea.
I'd rather get it first, then go ask for it.
Well, no, I think,
It takes 5 minutes.
I think an email, I think what Jack's
Yeah,
saying.
I'm just trying
I
to
agree
say
with
that, you know,
Email.
because what we're doing is we're breaking the notion that the county and the city pay for beach safety.
Yeah.
Now, we're starting to pay for part of it.
Yeah, no,
And I'd be real careful with that, because that may be hard to put back in the box one day.
I agree. And I have no qualms and absolutely will ask. And I'll do that. I've got his phone number. I'll ask as soon as we leave the meeting if you'll answer my number.
Chief, I'd like to make a motion if I may, please, sir. I'd like to make a motion to ask the chief to email the county, request another ski because we need it now. If for any reason you don't get the answer we need and the answer that we should have, then my motion will allow you to purchase a ski for an emergency basis.
DC, what about impact fees? What's your, around that?
You want the secretary's motion?
Yeah, we got, yeah.
I'll go ahead and second that, this amended motion.
Amended motion.
How did we decide to put the 3 skis that we have where they are? I mean, I assume we assessed where they were most needed, and we put them in the 3 places that would be most helpful to our rescue mission.
Correct.
Do we now believe that Crab Island is a higher priority than one of the places one of the other skis are?
Where is a higher priority than the other ones? I don't know that it's a higher priority. I think they are needed where they're needed and that we need a 4
Well, we
ski.
probably could use 10 of them, Chief. I mean, at the end of the day, right?
Right.
We got 3.
Well, the question is,
So-
would you want to get it pulled from Crab
Thank you.
Island to go to that area?
No, the other way around. I would take the least risk area where the 3 are. It's not gonna be the pass, we know that.
Right.
It's one of the ones off the beach.
Right.
And I would redeploy that,
That's
that county asset to Crab Island, okay? Until the county, unfortunately, although we need 4, we only get 3. So we had to pull one of them because we assessed where they need to be.
Right.
And our judgment is, that's the 3 most significant areas. We truly believe, as we agreed last week, we need one here, but that would take a 4th ski. When can we expect you to deliver? I mean,
Yeah.
everything I'm saying is about keeping beach safety ring fenced
Right.
with county TDC city money.
Right.
Because once we break that, it's gonna be hard to figure out what happens next.
The,
And we, I assume, we make the decisions on where the skis need to be.
correct,
If we now believe that Crab Island is a more significant risk and more in need of a ski, okay, then one of those other three places, redeploy the damn.
right.
And certainly you ought to let the county know, you ought to tell them we really do want one there. So what we'd like to request is a fourth one so we can backfill where we've agreed we need one, but it's not as crucial as the other three places that we have to cover.
Jack, I
Do
think
you agree with that, chief?
We've redeployed. We did do that. We took one, and, you know, that's.
That's what you have to do.
We did,
And
exactly.
you didn't pull one out of the past, you pulled one or two off the beach, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's right.
well, what we're looking at though is this needs to be expedited, and we know how the county is. It took them months to get us to the point where we're at now.
Well, we've already moved it, Tom. We expedited it Saturday and moved the damn thing.
Oh,
What
okay.
we've got is a hole on the beach, okay?
But I mean, for the county to say, okay, we'll give you one, or no, we're not giving you one, that's a moot point.
Well, I'd get an answer from them. It's probably gonna be, I don't know, we got a meeting next month and we'll let you know, whatever. And in the face of that, and in the face of the risk we're facing, then we ought to go make an emergency purchase or whatever is my suggestion. I think it's really important we get this kind of in the right order. And what you've done is just what I would expect you to do. You move your assets where
I
you
knew
need
you
them.
would have. I knew you'd expect me to do that, yes, sir.
Okay, so is my motion covering, what I'm hearing, my motion is covering what you're asking? Or what you're suggesting, what you're
Yeah,
suggesting,
try that.
what you're suggesting.
Yeah.
Right.
That's why I did the way I did it.
Right, so, just additional information, with what occurred with the fireboat, and in the location in which it occurred. We've analyzed that situation, the battalion chiefs and I, have looked at, the incident, that occurred there, and trying to, not necessarily see what went wrong. We don't think that necessarily our boat operator, who was a seasoned boat operator, someone who's operated our boat for years, that it's not like if we were going down the road speeding around a red light or any of that kind of thing. So to kind of try to figure out what might have happened, and then how can we prevent something like this from occurring again, and what might be our best mode of operation or tactic in addressing or performing a rescue in that general area. Because we know that area, boats are flipped in that area. This isn't the first one. It won't be the last one. There's been numerous that happened in that general area just to the west of that jetty. It occurs. And I say that we all know this, but our tactic, we believe, in the future to address this is to deploy a jet ski for that rescue, as compared to trying to put the fireboat in those shallows and in that close where it's making that break. We feel like our boat got in there and then it was a wave lifted it, turned it, lifted it, and then another one came up behind it. And it didn't roll it sideways. It went more of a nose and tail, stern. So, aft. So, is what we kind of anticipate. So our tactic in the future will be that we will still respond with the fire rescue boat, but we're also going to take a ski with us, and the ski is to make that deployment into that area. And based upon whoever's operating the ski, whether it's quicker to take it to the beach, or it's taken back out to the boat, whatever's best for the patient or those that are being rescued, they'll get out of there. So we will be using a ski in those both sides of that jetty where we've had this issue in the past. We feel like that's a quicker, safer way to be able to accomplish rescues in those areas. So
So it sounds like we just need to keep.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing you say, I like, and I'll tell you why I like it.
Okay.
My understanding, the Coast Guard won't even go out on those days. They will not go out.
when we flipped our boat, the Coast Guard sat off the water, and that's
Coast Guard
very
won't go out.
slow subject. Yes, sir.
But
We-
they flipped it back there.
They have, and I was here when they did it. They won't go out there. We will save a life.
That's right.
The only safe way to go out that pass on a ski.
Yeah.
Ski's the only way. So
I agree.
I would support you, chief, with no questions asked. As long as we know that our boats don't go back out there again. We don't go out there. Our skis go out there. Like you said, our boat stays inside the pass.
Right.
Like you said, the ski takes the patient either to the beach or whatever it has to come back in. But the ski can do it, guys. The ski can go out there with no problem. I'm sorry?
I completely agree with that.
Yeah. So as long as we understand that the boat don't go back out there like that.
Long,
The boat can go out, it just can't go inside the.
Oh, buddy, it
surf.
shouldn't.
we want
It
to
shouldn't
stay,
be
we
out
want to
like
stay
that.
out of the break.
Yeah, you want to stay out of the break.
It shouldn't be out there.
That
Don't
just
wanna
depends
be
on the
in the break.
condition.
Not like that. But it's not fair to our people.
We,
The hell with the boat, it's our people going out there.
there's been one other time when we deployed the boat. Well, it was pretty big surf, pretty big wave break, on the day that this occurred. We've gone out on worse than that. And where my most seasoned boat captain says he wasn't sure he would have done it, but boy, he's not sure he was. That's when we had 3 firefighters out, as well as a citizen, clinging to, a board. And to start off with, they weren't even clinging to a board. You know, they were just out there floating, in the Gulf out off the island, when that call came in. And, we took our boat out during that. So, we will take the risk, to save a life. And we'll take the boat out if that's what it needs to be able to get that done. The jet ski in that general area right around there is a good deployable asset. What our general thought, when we discussed it as our operational staff, is that we would deploy 2, so that way one's there to back the other up. Anything happens, the other one's there. So that way, because sending one, we always operate in pair. Firefighters always do that in pair. We're not cops. We don't go in with one gun blazing and take it on ourselves. Even they look for backup. But we always deploy in pairs. So our general sense is that if we're so fortunate as to put that station on the water, is that once all that is done, the boat being there and 2 jet skis. So in the event that we have to make that rescue in that general area, that the 2 jet skis go together. That way they back each other up, because something happens to one, we need somebody else, we would call that in and rescue them. So I think we need to go deploy those together. That's just kind of a longer range plan, as compared to what now we're seeing by Memorial Day, we need to be able to perform what we're looking to perform.
Right.
And patrolling Crab Island, as well as being able to go outside the pass and make those rescues.
All right, well, I got a motion on the floor from Commissioner Buckingham and a second from Green, from Commissioner Green, on getting the chief to check with the county first before we purchase. If we don't get the answer we're looking for, them acquiring the asset, then we move forward with the purchase.
And I'll need to get that, and I'll put a time frame on them, because I need to have that answer, quick, fast, and in a hurry, because, I need this, asset in hand prior to Memorial Day, so that we can modify it to put the ski on it, the sleds off the back, we gotta do some.
That's a
drilling
week from
and
this
stuff.
weekend.
Yes, sir. So so when I ask, I'll ask you to have an answer by Friday. So that way we've got a week to get it and get it, everything mounted to it and ready to go. And we've got to run it for a certain period of time and, break-in period, that kind of thing, before we can actually gun it. So
All right.
if that's all right with the board down here, set a
We got a
time.
motion and a second. Any further
I want
discussion?
to see about getting it paid for by impact fees.
I have a comment on this
That's
topic, but
something
I'll do it
I
after the
need
vote.
to smoke it, to speak to Catherine about, and I can't give an answer. Right here.
We're not talking $100,000.
I'm just like, yeah.
I mean, I
If
get
it
it.
adds to
And
the
the
fleet,
15,
but for
maybe.
future venture, to build on our property, that's something that would cover.
They help with the board. In the event we go that, in the event we purchase it. So, the county went out for RFP because they started purchasing these assets, remember? Because they didn't want us to do it, they're gonna do it. So, they went out for an RFP. The RFP was awarded, the contract was awarded to K&L. Okay? The county did not write a piggyback clause in their contract with K&L. However, we contacted K&L and said, hey, we might need to make an emergency purchase. Do you guys have what we're looking for on the floor right now that we can get? they go, yeah, we got it, and we'll honor the contract price that we gave the county.
Can
So
we
we
do that?
we have to buy it. In other words, they didn't want the board to think that we're gonna pay more than what we need to. It's actually, within the contract price that they've already agreed to with the county through an official process. For us to purchase it, though, we needed to do the emergency purchase order.
After this past weekend, I have a hard time believing the county would say no.
Yeah.
They're very aware of this
Yeah.
past weekend.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Can I make a related comment?
Move forward.
Chief, one of the things that has just occurred to me listening to you and this stuff is I really kind of like the idea of a pontoon boat as a platform out on Crab Island with banners and stuff, very, very visible.
Yep.
Doesn't have to move around between the other boats. You've
Right.
got a patrol boat there, you've got your jet ski there.
That's right.
And that frees up our fire boat to do whatever else it has to do.
Yes, sir.
And we can get a jet ski and a pontoon boat a lot cheaper than we can buy our fire boat. So the fire boat ought to be for the fire boat, right? Not for patrolling drunk on Crab Island. I just think about trying to figure out how to land at that point. And that's where you're gonna be this weekend. You're gonna have a jet ski out there, you're gonna have a pontoon boat out there. Maybe we gotta think about buying our pontoon boat and our force or for Crab Island.
Right.
Is
For that
a
purpose,
stable
yes.
platform, a lot better than our fire boat.
Right.
If we're trying to treat an injury or something else
Right.
to move them, you can still take them to the Coast Guard or wherever.
More
And
space.
you got the chase vehicle to go out and grab people or whatever you gotta do.
Right.
That keeps our fire boat from running around inside all the other boats and the kind of issue that's creating fast.
Yes, sir.
Well, I think it's subject that we're gonna be able to experience the what ifs and can, how much and what are all this weekend, or
Mhm.
Labor Day weekend.
Yeah.
Memorial Day weekend, we can
That'd be great.
We may find that may be a good choice.
I just like it.
see
Like
see if
the
it would be feasible.
Yes, sir. That actually came from a suggestion from one of our lieutenants.
Yeah.
They brought that idea up, and as soon as he did, I went, man, that's fantastic.
That's a great idea.
Just like you
Yeah.
did, fantastic.
If there was a motion on the floor right now, I'd be all over seconding it. I have one, a Tycoon, it'll run 50 miles an hour, it's bulletproof. I like what you just said. That's exactly where we need to go.
I think Tommy's got it rated. This is what we're gonna do Memorial Day, one way or another. Let's get that experience and let the science and the data guide us.
We could design a pontoon that would be the baddest boy out there on the water.
Yeah, and it would be highly visible. It's the
Yes,
medical
that's what I
platform,
like about
the
it.
rescue platform, yeah. Have you had any conversation with, the enforcement authorities out there?
Yes, sir, we speak with, when we're out there, we work in concert with, FWC, the sheriff's office, we work in concert with them, we pull up next to them, we talk to them when we see things, we kind of what we do on the beach with a voluntary compliance thing.
Yeah.
If we see something and they're not around and we're seeing it, we'll pull up next to someone and advise them, that, hey, what you doing about, whatever it happens to be. And then say, hey, the guy with the gun and badge over there, he's gonna get you for that. So it kind of helps us get voluntary compliance. But yeah, we speak to them all the time. We know them on a first name basis. So yeah, we talk with them all the time when we're out there.
Because if it's just crazy this early, it's gonna be a long summer out here.
Agreed. And we'll be out there in constant contact with those folks from FWC and the sheriff's office. Again, we know them on a first name basis.
And I like your idea, Jack. I like it.
All right, we're gonna move on. Anything else on that topic? All right, training report, chief.
Yes, sir. Let me find it. There it is. You'll see they got in 48 hours in March, and then you'll also see the April, they had 25 hours. What, just as a point of interest, you'll see that in March, we actually were doing fireboat training. So we actually did fireboat training before the fireboat incident actually occurred, which is, anyway, it's just ironic. You'll see they did a lot of training in March, and then we turn around at 25 in April. If you have any questions at all, I'll answer them the best of my ability.
looks good. Good job, Chief.
Yes, sir.
All right, inspection report.
Yeah, as Matt would say, you have the report in front of you, I'll answer any questions you may have. I can't do it as well as he does. I will say that, when, the governor did the stay-at-home order, I did pull my inspector in, instead of putting him out there. I thought that would be a bad look for us, by putting him out there, so I did pull him in, so you'll see that reflected in those inspection results.
Do you know of any new buildings coming in, projects? I should say?
I don't think anything's changed since, since Fire Marshal Taylor, told y'all of some of those that are going in. You can see some of that construction starting to go vertical in different places. You will see over next to Winn-Dixie, they are, actually at the point where occupancy, and they're taking occupancy of a couple of those buildings, that's starting to come online, so you're gonna see more and more people over there. And then the hotel is right there on Emerald Coast Parkway. You'll see it's up significantly,
Right.
and it won't be long. They'll finish that one up. That's next to Joe's Crab's shack. So I don't think anything's changed as far as additional projects coming up yet.
Any questions? All right, overtime report. And I should probably say what overtime report.
Yeah, true.
Good job on that.
As you'll see, there's only been a 4.5 hours, so that's not bad for the month of March. And then you'll see
Yeah,
nothing. You'll see nothing in April. You may see some coming here with the fires that they've had in South Walton. I'll go ahead and fill it in now. With the fires that have happened in South Walton, some of our guys coming back in the mornings, there'll not be an hour or two where we had to pick it up there. I did consider putting overtime people out there. If it had lasted longer than it did, we probably would have, because they did declare not necessarily a disaster area, but an emergency declaration, so that there could be some reimbursement coming forward. So kind of when that happened, I kind of looked at it and said, well, we do it.
Station 9 conference call, 60 Harbor Boulevard, Harbor Village. Time out,
And interesting to that point, I had been checked with to see if we had any assets available to go to Santa Rosa County as part of a strike team. And I told them we'd send an engine before we could get that deployed. The fire came in at South Walton, and that was started off as part of our normal mutual aid agreement. And we went, and then the second one went, and then I made a phone call and said, we're not part of the strike team going to Santa Rosa, because I'm not sending my third engine out. So when it all happened, the dam broke.
Sure.
But we were out there from the time when it first started through Monday morning. We were out there for 24 hours every day, assisting them with, start off with 2 engines, and then we cut back and only provided them with 1 engine to help them. So,
To my understanding, they got all the hot spots out now. Today, I think was.
I would actually say it was out before, I was kind of pressing them a little bit to let our guys go on Sunday. Because the reports I was receiving even then is that the majority of it was well contained, and the hot spots were pretty much over on Sunday. And I was pressing to say, hey, if y'all don't really need us, we'd like to get our crews back in our area. They wanted to hold for 1 more day until Monday. And then at that point, you'll see that it's 85% complete is what they're publicizing. I think it's better.
Well, good job from the guys. That did
Yes,
a whole lot
our
worse.
guys did not outstanding. I mean, Johnny on the spot got out there and helped them get after it right away. Right away.
Thank you.
It's sad to see 33 homes destroyed just from an unauthorized burn.
Unfortunately, South Walton is infamous for that. This is
Not the first.
it's 3 or 4 times this happened. I can tell you before I even came in it was 94, I think, Mac Bayou, they had that, in 94.
That was a horrible one.
Oh, yeah, I came from
Okay.
when I worked over at another department across, yeah, we responded from there all the way out to Mac Bayou, was that bad. So, they're infamous for it, unfortunately, because of that urban interface that they have, or wildland urban interface.
Thank you.
Good, guys, thanks. And go.
Yeah, they did a good job.
Okay, we don't need to talk about the fireboat. Are you gonna talk about the repair of it?
Well, there is, I just like to, yes, I would, if it's okay, repair purchase. So, the subject matter expert, I'll refer to him that way, isn't really the adjuster. But they sent somebody that's familiar with vessels, up here, we know him. He's actually familiar with apparatus. He came up when, we had the accident with, engine 10 and beach 10, and beach 10 was lost. Same individual came up. He's gathered all the information. He's gotten, the cost back from Safeco, and he has provided it to the official adjuster through VFIS. We are waiting for VFIS to tell us or to advise us what they're going to do. We know the cost is close to what it is insured for, so I'm not sure which way they're going to go, but as I've kind of mentioned to the board before, if they total it, I think it would be good for us to purchase it back, have it repaired, whether it's at Legendary or whether it's send it up to Safe Boat. The quotes that the expert received were from Safe Boat. We talked to Safe Boat. They said the quotes that they're giving the adjuster were to refurb the boat, basically. I mean, they were going to refurb it. He said, that's what you get, all new collars. We're cutting the complete center console out. We're building it back, and it's going to be refurbed, basically a refurb boat other than the hull. So we know that that's what that cost is.
Was there a ballpark number on that? Have you heard any numbers?
Oh, yeah,
What kind of number?
170.
170 to refurbish it.
170 includes shipping costs to go to Seattle and back. So,
That's repowering it too, right?
oh yes, motors,
Including motors, yeah.
all the wiring,
Electronics,
all everything, electronics. We had to point out the floor to them.
Not bad.
So we
Side
had to point
scan.
that out to them.
What
Side
kind of
scan,
timeframe?
they've been made aware of the side scan too. So we're gonna have it all.
What kind of timeframe did they say?
3 weeks, 3 weeks is what Safe Boat said. 3 weeks, 3 weeks,
To redo it?
yes.
Plus transit time's gotta be another 2 weeks,
I would say transit time's probably gonna put us
a
at
week each way.
4 to 5 weeks.
Well,
is
that's what they
probably.
first said, 9 months behind, right?
That's to build you a boat.
Oh, okay.
There's a- Yeah,
Big
no,
difference, yeah.
Yeah, but they're gonna refurbish, that's new wiring,
It'd be
new
like
power,
new.
new everything.
Do everything.
That's a no-brainer.
yeah. And
So we,
so with that said, while we're here, we've been, I put the battalion chiefs on the task, not knowing where everything's gonna go or anything. And said, hey, you guys do your homework, do some research on a new fireboat. There's multiple manufacturers that we were unaware of back in 2004, that exist today. So do all your homework. They've researched 4 or 5 different ones. They've spoken with the manufacturers. They've done quite a bit of homework. It looks like if we were to go with a new one, it would range between $350 and $450 would be the range in price. What I'll say though is that not that we don't owe Safe Boat anything, Safe Boat owes us nothing. They just have to be the one we selected back in 2004, and we were the first one they'd ever built. So we don't owe them anything. I'll say there's other manufacturers closer. There is throwing this out there, Silver Ships out of Theodore, Alabama. Eglin just purchased 2 36-foot fireboats from Silver Ships. Saw the pictures of them. Just bought them from them, $375 is what they paid for theirs. So I thought that was interesting. And what I see about that is, what I think is the benefit to that is Theodore. That means we put it on a trailer, take it over, do anything, turn around and get it back. It's not having to fly anybody in to do anything, it's not, so, for any kind of warranty items or anything, it's right there. I kind of thought that was an interesting benefit, potentially, if we were to decide to go that way. And I throw this out there in this fact, we're talking about potentially, if everything is okay, have a station that's on the water, and having a boat there for quick response, having the fireboat there for quick response. We've had discussions with different people in the community, and those that are kind of a part of the fishing fleet. And they really want our fireboat that's currently where it's at to stay where it is. But that doesn't expedite our response time if we have to leave that station we have built to still respond to the boat down on the harbor. We didn't really accomplish what we were trying to accomplish. So in the event that we go the direction of having two, which I think by this kind of shows, we have what I'd say is we have a backup of everything. We have a backup for an engine, ladders, command vehicles. We have a backup for everything we have. We have backup jet skis. We have a backup for everything. We don't have a backup fireboat. I've never pushed it before until the accident has kind of occurred with this one, and then it kind of shines more of a light on it that maybe we should. Obviously, a board decision, but if we were going to look that way, or if the board would even entertain it to the degree, I'd like to ask. We have a boat captain that happens to sit on the board that assisted with the first one, that has some experience with it. If the board wouldn't mind appointing him to be part of a committee to at least explore a potential another boat, and then obviously the board has no commitment to it, but at least explore it in the event when this other station potentially comes online, or if it does, that we have one there, instead of moving the one we have now. I think that's going to cause some consternation with a lot of people in the community, by moving it from where it's currently located. I just kind of wanted to make the board aware of some stuff that I'm hearing.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
If we do get a place on the water and we have a boat there,
Is it?
I said if, and that boat could be dispatched to the harbor faster than we take guys from one of the stations to drive there, get on the boat, put it in the water, and get to the fire, correct?
I don't think
Right
so.
there.
I think over the land would be either just as quick or quicker than taking the water. I mean, I haven't timed it. But because they'd have to come out the back of the station, go down to the dock,
Right.
lower the boat down, then back the boat out, and then take it around and go around.
Well, on a summer weekend, going down to the dock could be 15, 20 minutes.
Right.
Sir?
And
Exactly.
the traffic you're gonna have on the weekend.
From here, for sure,
You
yeah.
hit the lights on the fireboat and you get around from the dock. along
Right, and they
that
still gotta drop the boat no matter where they.
Yeah, I'd probably
And
say,
they're
yeah,
waiting
depending on the
through.
season, whether it's in or out season.
So, I mean, it's my brain is just thinking. But to answer your question, I would love to see Tommy, involved in the committee because, he knows boats better than all of us and some of us are pretty good with them, but yeah, I would definitely support
I
that.
don't know
We
blood
agree
boats
with that.
better than y'all do.
What's that, buddy?
I don't know blood boats better than y'all do.
Yeah. We don't know them either. We don't have one yet.
You're involved in the first one and you did a great job, so,
I'd be happy to.
super, appreciate it.
Thank you.
And I think that would help to bring some board perspective to the committee, because I love my guys to death, though they might get a little carried away with different things that might be.
When do we make the decision as to buy a new boat or refurbish our existing boat? That's not on the table for tonight, is it?
No, sir.
Okay. Just kind of wading in with an opinion. If you gotta refurbish our existing boat, then we get right back to the boat that we had that had everything on it, side scan, all that we wanted. So at some point in time, that was exactly what we wanted.
That's right.
And once we go start looking at U-boats, now we need thrusters and we need yachties and all the other stuff, right?
Mhm.
And if there is a possibility that of having a boat in the harbor, because that's important to a great element of our community, and then we want to have one behind our new West Station, if that comes to pass, that's an incremental boat. And we can figure out a way to repurpose that, and my goal would be to get that done with impact fees.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I agree. I agree with that absolutely.
And that'd be the time to get a different boat or something.
As I said in the email when I sent it to kind of give it an update just a little bit, I didn't go into great detail, but, at the time that we purchased the one that we have, that was cat's meow. Really? I mean, there were other departments that would come look at our boat that would love to have bought our boat from us at the time. They really wanted ours. But there has been so many advances from 2004 to now. And there are things that we've kind of learned from actually owning one operator that would work for us in how we operate our boat. That if we were going to do anything, we'd like to see some of those things, that lessons learned applied to the boat. A little bit more space to be able to operate, a larger pump on there. And whether it's bow thrusters or whether it's which I didn't know, y'all know a whole lot more about boats than I do. They have joysticks where the boaters can operate independently and you can hold it in place and things that I go, that's magic to me. But they talk about if you can do that, it helps to control when we move it because they can control it that way. So those are some of the things that we're becoming aware of that are out there that I think would help us be able to keep it in play. One thing that that our pump is a 500, our current fire boat is a 500 GPM pump. For a boat fire, that's more than enough water, okay? However, if we had a 1500 GPM, similar to, which other fire boats do, a lot of other fire boats do now, have that, we can utilize that, especially in some of our areas, surrounded by water on three sides plus a harbor, where we can supply a fire truck with water from the harbor or from the bay in the event that is needed, where we might not have that supply from a hydrant. So where it can actually be a water source for us. Or depending on the monitors we have, we might be able to actually put out more than 500 and depending, actually the one that we saw from Eglin has 2 monitors on front. So, each one of those can put out 500 gallons a minute. So,
How many fires, I'm trying to think myself since I've been here, how many boat fires have we really had?
we've had more than you would
I
think.
think 2 is all, but
Yeah, I'm only thinking there was 2.
Oh, no, we've had,
No, it's
Harlem,
not.
we had one out. Yeah, there's been.
I'll,
We've had another one out there. Yeah, I mean, I can go back. We've had them for sure. Yeah. Yeah, we've had more. It's just not something that happens every month.
Right, thank God.
But sometimes when you get that run, you'll get them and it'll be bang, 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 like things do. So, I don't know. I was hoping.
I would be very concerned because this only goes one direction, right? We want to put out boat fires in the harbor. It's the beginning. Now we're going to be a pump for an engine. Now we're going to do high-rise fires with a 1,500 gallon pump. We got an airport nearby with a lot of planes. When we have a plane crash, we're going to need a 5,000 gallon pump. So, we're going to talk ourselves right up that path if we're not careful.
I might get to that at some point.
That is a topic of discussion later on. though.
Yeah, it might be a year or so,
Let
but
me
it
know what
is down the road.
I won't be here for that one.
Yeah.
I completely agree and second Captain Tommy to be on this committee.
I think
Brings experience
experience
and common sense to bear here.
Yeah, because sometimes simple is better.
Thank you, sir.
What you mean, I'm simple?
All right, so
No,
our next meeting probably will have a better update if we're gonna move in what direction, correct?
Absolutely, and if anything comes up in between then, if it's okay, I'll contact you, Mr. Chairman, if we need to have a meeting in between, so we have a special meeting to make a decision on what we want to do, depending on what the insurance company says.
Okay, fair enough.
And are you gonna be able to keep Luther's pontoon boat for 5 or 6 weeks?
Luther actually has said that, he's willing to let us utilize it, for as long as we need.
Awesome, cool.
Because I actually mentioned it to him, we mentioned it to him that, it could be through the summer.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, for what way he sees this, for what you guys are doing for us out there, because he rents jet skis, he rents pontoons.
Mhm.
So he knows what he's kind
Yeah.
of getting out there. He says, what you guys do
That's
for
a good
us, no, I
citizen
think
right
this
there.
is,
That is true.
Good
that's the way he
citizen.
thought about it.
Do you know John?
No, I don't. I mean, I know who he is. but
Nice
he's-
guy in this community.
He's a nice guy.
That's good to have.
Thank you for us, Chief.
Okay, moving on to resolution 20-07, the damaged and unrecoverable equipment, and I'm assuming that's from the
Both,
boat.
yes, sir, it is. You'll see it there.
I move that we pass resolution 2007, damaged and unrecoverable equipment.
Second.
Okay, I got a motion.
Are we gonna scrap it, Chief, or are we gonna just donate it? What are we gonna do with it?
Some of them we don't. Some of
It's just garbage.
yeah.
You know, those electronics don't like.
It's gone.
Like
You
salt water?
can't scrap it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not even the paperwork. I mean, it's.
Oh, it's supposed to start with. Okay, so we got a motion and from Commissioner Wilson, and a second from Commissioner Green. Any further discussion? Seeing none, take a vote, all in favor? Unanimous? All right, mid-year adjustments.
Yep, that's what I started getting into the financials. So sorry about that. As we do each year, we make, major budget adjustments. Ms. Catherine has put together I thought it was a great idea. She put together a kind of a short one-thing summary, kind of, explains it to the board. Some of the highlights are, you'll see some changes, personnel services, changes, kind of are reflective of the bargaining agreements which took effect October 1st, 2019. You'll see also professional services, increased legal expenses due to the arbitration of agreements. I'm gonna be Trump here and go, which we won. Okay. And then you'll see the repair and maintenance services of various assets and equipment, purchase of additional foam that we needed, increasing training and per diem to cover more participation than we anticipated. Capital outlays, you'll see we're going to reprioritize some of our capital needs. And this is where we made the adjustment to go with the new heart monitor versus the refurb monitors. The technical rescue equipment we're going to be purchasing, the wave runner that we discussed. We're going to go ahead and make that adjustment just in case we end up that way. Repair or purchase thereof, fireboat, replacement of Beach 10, which is going to come, and items are removed. We had in there the kitchen remodel. We're going to end up removing that. Generator replacement, we're going to remove that. Mini pump or a small engine. That was based upon whether or not the station was going to come about or not, and that kind of thing. So we feel confident and comfortable being able to remove those items. At the end of the day, it's the point that all adjustments are basically net zero. So no funds are being pulled from reserves to cover the items. So we're just able to move things around that are in the budget as it is without pulling anything from reserves. So that's our mid-year budget adjustments.
I'd entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve your budget.
Second.
Wilson's just a second. Wagner? All right, any further discussion? Seeing none, take a vote. All in favor? Unanimous.
And then one last thing, if I could, because I know it's not on there, I just kind of want to put out this is Judo's thing. With the, might remember when they first started the repaving and this whole paving project that's going on out there, that I had attended one or two of their meetings, discussed with them how important it was that our Opticom be replaced because it was becoming antiquated. They agreed to do so as part of that whole granting thing. It's going to be upgraded to a GPS system with all their new lights. So instead of it being infrared like our older ones are, it's GPS. So the gentleman's here installing our part that we had to purchase, which is to outfit our trucks. He's been here the last 2 days, we'll be here tomorrow as well, installing those new devices on our trucks. We'll still maintain the old ones for our older lights, but he's in doing that, and then when he's done, he'll be going out there and putting in an intersection. So that's positive for us, that we're able to upgrade all those lights with new equipment at no expense to us, except for us putting it on our trucks. So that's great.
Good job, Chief.
Just wanted to say that.
Fantastic.
That's great.
Yes, sir. Will.
See, anything else come from the board? Seeing none, our next meeting is, regular meeting is scheduled June 9th, 2020 at 5:30 p.m. And seeing none, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, sir.